Rehydrating dried yeast. Dried yeast has a high cell count, especially as compared to liquid yeast strains. Because of this, some brewing literature recommends simply sprinkling the dried yeast on the surface of the wort. This is certainly an option, however it does tend to result in high cell death. Rehydrating dried yeast is a relatively easy process that makes sure your yeast is in top shape. The basic process is as follows. Note that some manufacturers may print specific directions on their packaging. Default to those instructions whenever available. 1. Warm the dried yeast to room temperature. To do this, simply take it out of cold storage and leave it on a countertop for an hour or so. 2. In a sanitized container, prepare an amount of sterile tap water at 105 degrees Fahrenheit, equal to 10 times the weight of the yeast, usually 110 milliliters or about 4 ounces. It is recommended to use filtered or bottled water, as excess chlorine present in tap water may hinder the yeast's health. 3. Sprinkle the yeast on top of the water. Try to avoid large clumps or chunks. If you're working in a dusty or breezy area, consider covering the dish with tinfoil, plastic wrap, or another container. Let it sit for 15 minutes as is. Then gently stir with a sanitary stirring device. 4. Once the yeast has absorbed some water, gently stir again to form a cream and let sit for another 5 minutes. 5. Carefully and slowly adjust the temperature of the yeast to within 15 degrees of the wort temperature. While it will have lost some heat while sitting, adding cool water is the safest way to adjust temperature. Attemperation with wort is also acceptable, just try to avoid large amounts of sediment. The 6th and final step, pitch the yeast cream into a fermentation vessel. Avoid letting the yeast cream sit out for more than 30 minutes total, as the cells will begin to starve. By rehydrating dried yeast, an ideal pitch rate can be achieved with one 11-gram packet for beers up to 1076 original gravity. A pinch of Nutrifirm Energy can also be beneficial to the rehydration process. You'll want to add that to the water before adding the yeast. Something to consider when rehydrating dried yeast: you want to use a vessel that is wide, if not also tall. This will accommodate the expansion of the yeast. We did a trial using a 150 milliliter beaker. Everything went well until step number 5, when the growth of the yeast caused it to rise up and out of the beaker. So try to use something a bit larger for your rehydration, like a measuring cup or a larger flask. For more tips on yeast health and fermentation, see northernbrewer.com and our homebrew video library at northernbrewer.com/homebrew-video-library.